The first tap of a conductor's wand. The first rivet in a mile-high tower. The master link at the genesis of a never-ending chain. The moment a single empty canvas meets a singular master stroke. There is no one thing. Because now, there are many. Because soon, there will be more. Because one is ever the beginning. Like the first link in an infinite chain, or the first rivet in the tallest skyscraper. The master stroke is found in the masterpiece. What will you begin?
All right, everyone. Welcome to World Blockchain Roundtable, episode 153. Our hosts for today are I am for I am, or I'm for I'm, however you want to, if you shorten it a little bit. Greg from Rivet, Satoshi Sean, everyone's best friend, and welcome back. He spent last week shaving, so that's why he wasn't here. So he's here this week, which is what's important. And hopefully it'll be a good episode. And I'm Joe. So first of all, I wanted to ask Greg, what is that script from in that Rivet commercial?
I wrote that.
Okay, I wondered. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, it was so the rough idea was this. I got inspired originally to even care about starting up a company when I learned the story of Steve Jobs, right? And the crazy ones spoke to me, but I was like, we need something like that doesn't feel like that, just because I want it. If I'm gonna have one little piece of vanity in the startup, it will be that little poem. Nice. So I set to writing it and couldn't come up with a damn thing for like a month. And then one day I just I stumbled across the line, the master stroke is found in the masterpiece, which is sort of like the whole point of the idea is like, nobody knows if they're going to build a great thing when they're starting out, and they don't even know what that great thing is. The story of Slack, for example, you know where the company Slack came from? Mm-hmm. They were developing a game, and the internal communication tool they used ended up being their amazing product.
Nice,
right?
That's smart.
Like,
right on.
Nobody knows.
I want to see the game.
What's the great thing they're going to build, right? So that was the whole point of the problem.
Because the VC came in and said, "Well, you know what? Your game's not playing well. Nobody likes it. It sucks. But we'll put this logo, pretty cool logo, on the comms tool. We'll throw some money in it. There you go. We got it." Yeah. That's what it was. I guarantee it was the story. That's awesome. And by the way, because I don't get to use these very often. And we're missing John. We're still missing John. He's lost in that. We need John to come back so he can make little, because he's never made one of those of me or if I am for I am, right? So we need John to come back so that we can.
We need like a bounty on the World Blockchain Roundtable layer for somebody who wants to earn some matter by creating those for these guys.
Yes, absolutely. I'll do matter and lot. I'll give you some roundtable lot. I'll give you a bunch of matter. How much matter do I have?
I'll give you a bunch of matter too.
I'd have to look. I'll look when I'm over there. I have a bunch of matter. I'd give, I don't know how much we want to offer, just based on the quality.
Maybe just like what's a good like chunky amount of matter? What's something that feels like a win?
Well, I mean, there's only
there's only 1.5 million matter in this world.
And there's only 1,000 a day.
Okay.
Right. So
1,000 a day. Let's say maybe 100.
Oh yeah, I'm down.
1/10 of a day's matter.
I'll put down 100.
I'll put down easily 100. I'll say a range. anywhere from a tenth of a day to a full day's matter. If something's amazing, I'll put 1,000 matter. All right. So.
Yep.
All right.
Hell yeah. Maybe
so bring them in,
and maybe like a chance for a later, larger drawing to get a cool ass, I don't know, animal in an eggshell or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, there you go. Right on. Okay. First, quick update on layer token distribution from last week. WBRT governance lot. So what it takes to run the show, right? Every host from last week will get 133 lot. Every topic contributor 166 lot. Last week's themes were nominated by I Am for I Am. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think that's correct. Make sure it's updated. 166
Sure.
lot. Again, those tokens, perpetual passive income, free edits in the layer, and most importantly, governance votes. Speaking of which, we have results for, I guess I should, let me show you here. I think it's right here. Yes. Results for the themes for the month of May. Top 5 will be selected. I don't know what the order is here. We'll have to look at this order, but what's right and wrong in the crypto blockchain space? You guys must want to have a long show. I voted for that one. 16.3%. Staying safe from scammers in a bull run. This is a super important one.
Has anyone seen
super great topic?
Anyone seen The Beekeeper?
No.
The Beekeeper?
Not yet.
No.
Beekeeper.
It's on my list, man.
I'm
still not done. I'm still not done being angry about Dune 2.
We watched it last night for family night. It's you guys will. It's funny.
Really?
It's very over the top, Jason Statham, but it has to do with that topic of staying safe from scammers in the bull run. Yeah.
Really?
Cool.
Okay. I'll have to look at that. All right.
Thanks for the recommend.
Tell this one guy, and the guy's like, "Hey man, what do you want? I'll get you anything. NFT? I'll give you an NFT." I swear. I swear he said that. It was hilarious.
That's okay. Awesome. We have to watch it. We have to support
everybody who has had an NFT has done that before.
We have to support the cameo appearance of our technology and actual mainstream culture, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not all taken over by Sam Bankman-Fried types. So that's awesome. The Beekeeper, you say? Okay, Beekeeper. Yeah. Maybe. Okay, I'll look that up.
I'm putting that on my list tonight, man.
Right? You stream it somewhere?
Nobody's about to.
It's it's streaming on HBO now, or no, sorry, they call it Max. That's right. That thing goes through so many damn name changes.
Max.
So I'm still waiting on Peacock to come after him and drop the first fragment of the name.
Yep. I don't know. Max is convenient because Game of Thrones is there, and they also have like all of the they have a bunch of good stuff there. So it's a good service. Anyway, blockchain and the end of aging. Thank you, Greg.
I'm going to shove this one down your guys' throats. Sorry, but I've been studying this and following this research for years.
I'm going to catch up on that one because I've always been a fan of Sinclair, and there's another gentleman from England received a lot of money actually from Richard Hart. I'm trying to remember his name.
Sinclair is going to be the man who is remembered as creating it, even though it's probably more his research team and his non-public facing researchers that spend the time on the ground doing the actual hard work. That's the crazy thing about this guy. It's like, I'm not bringing this up because like woo-woo, right? I'm bringing this up because in my force myself to read papers for 6 years brain, I can see no other outcome because they put the rigor into it.
I will watch
and
that.
Everybody just needs to know about it because like we're planning for a future where everybody retires at 83. No way, man. You're still a teenager at forever. I mean, so you might as well plan on the long haul. We need to think about
will we all have vampire type culture? Will we all wear nice clothes? And
people are going to die still. We may care a lot more about our own personal safety. We may not be as violent. We can treat long distances between stars.
Will our governments be as violent? And will the governments get will our governments get jealous that they are not living forever? Imagine that if you were able to live through multiple empires and you just see empires come and go, and then the empires say, "Hey, we want some of that. We're going to kill you if you." I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
after today's show, we'll find out how it all ends.
Yes. Okay. Next was. Oh, and by the way, I want to tell you something. I noticed this. I've surpassed Greg. I didn't think I was going to do that. I don't know how that's possible. I'm gonna have to drop
amazing.
shows because I I liked having someone else above me in the
Oh no, I'm coming for you, man. You come as often as you can, and I will, and we'll see who comes.
You need
back
to just
on
ask a
top
bunch of
in a
questions,
little bit.
right? So yeah,
I'm
just like the
excited.
Elon Musk post pay package being withdrawn. I'm only temporarily second place.
right on.
I just surpassed Dave, and I miss him so much.
Ah, Dave. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we have to. Oh man, Dave, you need to get back on here. Next was Bitcoin hijacked. Is Roger Ver correct? I am voting for that. That's going to be an amazing show.
I will try to get him on that show.
Oh my god, that would be so amazing.
That would be awesome.
I'm a huge fan. You can tell him it will be very pleasant.
Yeah, he doesn't trust anybody. He's
I know. I can imagine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I used to live that way too because people used to attack me. But then, you know what I did? I realized something, and there are no other votes. So those were the top 4. And I think we're supposed to choose 5. So
maybe we could get him on as an anon that is suspiciously similar to.
That'd be all right.
You guys?
No, it's just it's a weird thing. I found that, and some people will think this is maybe silly. At first, I thought it was a theory. I went in because there were so many trolls, and I thought, I'm going to try instead of letting it get me. And sometimes I still lose it. Sean's called me out when I've lost my temper from somebody making a comment here before, right? I felt really bad too. I was like, oh man, Sean called me out. I couldn't. The rest of the day was kind of ruined.
Sorry.
It's all right. No, but either way, I'd tried the turn the other cheek thing. And it was funny, like somebody came in and they just wanted to talk shit on Dragon Chain. And they came in and they started talking about how the logo was the stupidest logo and all this other stuff. And it's like, it was weird that they chose that, and it made it kind of easier for me. But I just took it as I took it and said, okay, I'll accept that. It's like, and help us out. Maybe we can improve the logo. I treated it as if it was a legitimate request. And
he was being serious. Right.
Yeah. And the dude ended up flipping. He ended up actually tweeting in support of us and stuff because I wasn't an a-hole to him. And I just, it's like, hey, I just want to be friendly.
A lot of people think there are way more trolls on the internet than there are. There's just a lot more people with mild functional autisms on the internet than you think, and they sound like they're being rude when they're actually just surprised that people react to them so badly.
Yes, that's probably the best way to describe it ever. That's funny. So let's see here.
What week will that be on? That show be on? Sean and I could reach out to Rice Crypto too, because Rice Crypto might be able to pull some strings to get Roger on that week as well.
Ah, nice. Roger.
I can get Roger on my channel. But once it's anyone else, that's when he shuts it down.
Right.
That's the thing.
Well, you can tell him long time, friendly.
Yeah.
I supported him when the forks were happening. And
we don't believe in safe spaces, so it's safe here.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I mean,
I think I can talk him into it.
It's a friendly group, and he's amazing. I'd love to see what he would say about this stuff. I'd like to have him on for other topics as well, because some of the things that I've seen him were like the very, very fitting with philosophically. If you watch his interview with what's his name on Daily Wire,
Ruben.
You watched that interview with him on Ruben?
I didn't see that one.
It's worth watching. It's freaking awesome. And he goes through his philosophical. Yeah, he has some Bitcoin stuff, but he went through the story of why he's no longer a U.S. citizen, and it is brilliant.
It's good.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
Dude, forget why. I just want to know how. Like that process.
He gives the steps in that. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So this week,
I can just clip that 2 minutes and send it to him. I think that'd be good.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yes. Excellent. Cool. Okay. So next we have this week's question. So I guess I'm going to refresh this real quick here live so you can all see it. And we'll just hit questions. Is that okay? I do have a few. If you guys in the meantime want to send me links to any current events, I'll add them. I have a window with a bunch of current events. So first
again, can you read the topic again one more time, please?
Yes. Subverting Corrupt Governments with Blockchains, episode 153, World
Thank
Blockchain Roundtable. Yes. So first question from I Am for I Am. It is a question and original, I hope. I'll change it if I'm wrong there. Communication is important. If I recall, during the Arab Spring in Egypt, Twitter was used by the protesters who grew tired of their government and its corruption. Tucker Carlson told us that he used Signal to arrange for his interview with Putin in Russia, and that his messages were leaked to the press by the NSA. Question: how can blockchain facilitate private and secure communication with revolutionaries or between revolutionaries, right?
Well, you got to click on the image,
Well,
Joe.
okay.
Okay.
Wait, Signal?
That's what he said,
That's
right? It
crazy.
was Signal. Is that correct? I
Yes,
do believe
it
that's
was.
correct.
That was
I would
correct.
bet dollars to donuts that somewhere else in the communication chain is how that leaked out. Because
I don't know.
I mean,
I've heard it elsewhere, but that was what Tucker said. He was using.
I guarantee to you, they have backdoors into
but
everything
Mox
that's being used there.
is legit. You know, like he's not one of our ancient regime sellouts. Like that was a
Oh,
true
I don't
hacker.
think he sold out. I think it's just the core of it. It's like you can't use a cryptographic algorithm in this world and not know that it is probably compromised.
Well, yeah, I mean, and security is really just making things more expensive for your adversaries, right? If an adversary wants it enough,
Exactly.
and they have the resources to spend, then there's nothing you can do.
Yep. And
other
I
than
would
slow
be
them
willing
down.
to say it's typically a threshold. Like if you and I were doing it, they might crack it, but they're not going to crack it and leak it. They're going to crack it and hold it for, oh, these guys are insurrectionists, which we aren't, by the way.
Right.
But
And that's not to say they don't have something on Mox, right? Like
Yep.
maybe that one cell was the price he paid to otherwise have the liberty to build what he's building. Who knows?
yeah, well, and you think about it, there is a very emotional issue with the Intel superstate, and I'm going to call it from now on the Intel superstate, and
Good one.
and
I like
the Russia,
I'm going to start
and
using
so
that one.
Tucker with Russia, those guys are that might be worth them exposing that they have a hole. It's like, yeah, we can actually see your Signal stuff, and it's because we don't want Tucker to be shopping for groceries in Moscow, right?
Dude, did you do that on purpose? Because there's a pro tip embedded in there for fellow SEO hackers. If you want to escape Google's censorship regimes, then have an acronym that is, or a name that is identical to something that they cannot possibly filter out, like ISS, for example.
That is not what I did not mean that. That's good. ISS.
Okay.
Intel
That is a pro tip.
superstate.
Not
Intel
intentional.
superstate. It's
Yes.
Yep.
beyond borders.
The top results, man.
Yes.
Someone will accidentally click on it.
So who wants to answer this first? How can we facilitate private and secure communications with revolutionaries?
I'm just taking notes here because I wrote the question.
So I think this one calls for a throwback to history, right? You guys remember the war games they did in 2002, where like that retired general, what was his name? I just happened across a little piece of history that had to do with this the other day. So anyway, what happened was two carrier groups, red and blue team, or two groups in their war game, red and blue team. Blue team being the entire force of the U.S. Navy and a division of Marines landing, and red team being basically a proxy for Iran, with their having to be scrappy, much smaller, much less technical force. Right. First hour of battle was over. Iran had sunk 19 U.S. ships, including several carriers. 20,000 real human beings would have died if that was a real war, and he would have just trounced an invasion. And that happened in part because he used ancient forms of communication. Human messengers, like old school Roman style, blinking lights aimed at just the right time at just the right place. They couldn't get inside his communication network because he did not use anything highly technical. Blockchain could help coordinate that kind of sneaker net style communication service.
Yep. It could also allow you to put certain things on chain that even the bad guys or your opponent could get, but you can use out of band separate with reference so that you can validate that this really did come from Greg. It is his registered keys. It doesn't matter if they're broken because I got it over, like you said, like maybe what do they call it when it's a comms channel that uses light, but it uses polarized switching so that you can see. First of all, it's hard to intercept it, and if it is intercepted, it's intercepted. Like it's a super interesting.
It's literally like it's a tamper-proof visual form of broadcast.
Yep.
Really interesting.
Yep. And the other would be crows, or what is it? An African swallow. I think it's an African swallow that can carry the coconuts. Is that right? If they're
African
so
swallow.
Also,
that would be one way.
But African
another one would be
it's what?
that's
right. They're not migratory.
They're not migratory. That's right.
Right. So you wouldn't be able to get a coconut.
Yeah.
At least in England or Britain.
You can also build a secret society
Steve.
really easily using NFTs as a community connector.
I will quote Steve,
No centralized
message
list.
in a bottle.
Plus, you don't talk about it equals secret society.
Yes.
I think it depends on how corrupt the government is.
Yeah.
Because once you're found out, or once you're thought to be part of it, the vast array of ways to kill you.
Right.
It's insane.
Well, but there's also a sweet spot, right? If the government's too corrupt, then the problem is solvable with large amounts of funds raised from maybe like a crowd fund that you could do on a DAO.
But once
Then you
again,
inspire politicians.
that's one of the first things they've done, is trying to separate all the wealth and for them to have it. What we've seen with the Israeli conflict, I mean, I've seen horrid things. I don't really go on X that much because I just see dead babies and dead kids.
Yep.
But there was these like 5 young dudes. They were like older teenagers, and they were just following them with a drone. Bam! Rocket blew them up in the middle. Two dudes rode up to were limping off. One guy ran off, and they just followed him, and they hit him with a missile. There was a single person just blew him up. I mean, they're just like body parts everywhere. But so it's somebody sitting miles away. Nobody has to find you, follow you. Wait for the shot. There's someone in the way. It's literally, they just sit. They're like 20, 50 miles away, and it's a video game. So.
Oh yeah. No.
So
well, but even that video game is a fucked up video game to play because you're blowing up real humans, and the connection sometimes is as tenuous to a person you actually want to hit as we got the last 20 characters of a random unique identifier from their cell phone network near this tower, and it looks like it might be there. So pull the trigger on that guy who has that cell phone, because there's like a more than 52% chance that he's the guy we're trying to kill.
I do agree.
Never mind the
we got to go back to, and Lisa has said this for voting.
Fuck that, man.
We have to go back to analog voting. I think we go back to a system. It's what a good example of it is, like my kids are. Have a gaming channel. They're super into gaming. I mean, professionally. And there's a lot of games that are vintage games that you can't play on the current systems. So that's the kind of, I think, the analogy we need, kind of older tech that is not able to be used with today's newer tech.
Yep.
Well,
I do have one idea. Sorry, go ahead.
My input is that one, we have to think of we have to think of privacy and maintaining privacy, so that a message or hey, we should meet up here and protest over here or go over there on this date. So one, you need privacy. 2, you need that encryption, of course. 3, you need some sort of network or carrier to be able to get that message out. and then you need obviously the enticement to get people to go to that protest or whatever it is, or to join. So all of those kind of go hand in hand, and blockchain can certainly handle the being censorship resistant. We know that this information came specifically from this individual. It's of course borderless. It can be private and using cryptology. But the real issue here is Big Brother's always going to be watching, right? And so Big Brother's going to want to stop it, intercede, put out bad intel, bad information. Oh, go over here on this date. Change the date, change the location, and now, or the government's going to say, hey, well, we all know where they're going to meet up. Or let's say it was a
who wants to
DAO,
help me
and
kidnap the
the
government?
DAO organizers were going to say, hey, as a DAO, let's meet on Thursday at midnight, behind the McDonald's or something. Well, then now Intel's going to know exactly where to go to get the leaders.
Yeah.
Well, and what's worse is they might not even do that. They might just enter the organization itself and divide it. This is why I think we still have Bitcoin maxis.
Sure.
I will say in the in the upcoming world that we all kind of sense is coming, maybe it won't. There are some interesting things too. I mean, look up port knocking. Look up, an atypical angle to security is obscurity. You're not supposed to trust obscurity for security because nobody knows this file is here. It doesn't matter. They'll find it. It's the internet, right?
Right, you can't.
But there are certain things like port knocking, and there are certain things where you can add some elements of obscurity that can be shared secrets, human shared secrets between and augmenting what are otherwise compromised protocols, right? So you can do some things that would throw it off. But
that said, there's one form of obscurity that I think doesn't get its due as a proper form of security. And that is like intentional smearing of data sets, right? Like one way to make sure that you can never be blamed for anything you access from your home Wi-Fi access point is by taking the password off of it and calling it free public Wi-Fi in the SSID, right? Like you do that, then anyone shows up at your door to say it wasn't me.
Yes. Well, and there's also another. I don't know if I'll be able to find the meme. But I will look that there is also spam, and it depends if it's not, it's more like the music industry trying to attack, file sharing stuff. Spam is a very useful tool for things like that, where you put things
has
up.
A particular word for it. You drown it in the white noise, essentially.
Yes, exactly.
Right. I want to make sure that nobody wants people to protest being forced to wear a face covering, and you just hire 500 trolls to post as much as they can about microchips in or 5G being used to give you COVID, right? It'll sound insane all of a sudden, even if it was perfectly reasonable not to want to wear a burqa.
Yeah, I can't find it. There's a meme that's always on 4chan that I troll my FBI guardian angel with a 3-hour file of mayonnaise spoon sounds, but it's it's titled as if it was some nefarious thing, some bomb making thing or something else. Anyway,
hidden inside music are Morse code or something in the beat.
I'll tell you. I'm not going to tell you which band.
Audio. What's the process with images?
Steganography.
Steganography.
You can do steganography
or oral steganography, basically.
Yep. There's at least one band out there that I am suspicious that they do something like that. That's crazy interesting, related to 9/11. But anyway, okay.
So I have one idea before we hit the next one. Yes. I want to share this one idea because this is one that Austin and I've bounced around for years. So you can buy old cell phones by the pound, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah, and they're cheap. So you drop $50, and you get 2.5 pounds of chips and batteries and things that turn on and run any computer program you really want it to. Technically,
right?
You root them, so that all they do is rebroadcast and create a free wide area network public access point.
Clever.
Connect them to either really big old batteries for like a pocket juice box for recharging your phone or whatever, or you can even go fancy with like a solar one that would really last for a while. And you can actually figure out how many you need to intersperse across a geography to make sure that when one goes down for whatever reason, like a coyote comes along and just tears it up or whatever, right? You've got another backup. And as long as you're incentivizing people to litter the environment pretty evenly with these little units you can create cheaply, then you could fund an effort to create a wide area network that was peer-to-peer and self-assembling.
Right.
Yep.
And you could use a DAO to build that.
Two other real quick comments, and to kind of piggyback on Greg. My wife and I are watching the series Turn. It's about Washington spies. It's the second time we're watching it. We're both history buffs.
Is it good? I've always wanted to watch it.
Oh my gosh, it's good.
Okay.
It's really good.
Right.
Highly recommend it. Anyway, they did a lot of drops, message drops, and they used their cryptography was a standard letter, and they had a template over it with holes, and the keywords within the holes. And so the same brass template was at both ends of the message. So if someone intercepted the message, it would just look like a love letter or something else. But once you put the template over it, you would got the keywords
like Trump
out
tweet.
of it.
Yeah, and, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
I thought it would be good.
I'm gonna watch that. Is it accurate, or is it supposed to be relatively?
It's fairly accurate. It's fairly accurate. You see Benedict Arnold switching. You can go into the key. I should say the main characters in the show, and you dial back into the actual history of and it's really good.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it then.
I will
watch it. I've been listening to nothing but ancient Rome podcasts. So the Costa Glory. I guess Greece too. Costa Glory. Anybody interested in history, you should watch Costa Glory, because it's like it kind of pushes you to do something. It's like you get a feel for the bigger things, what could be done, and what it's just an interesting show.
Dude, that's a great thing too. It's a really good point about this. Like, people need to find inspiration in order to be inspired to do anything at all like this. If you want to resist, then you better have something that animates your world, so you can recharge and get going when people are pushing on you from all angles.
And other people, other things can do that too. But it's just Costa Glory is about individual biographies. So they'll go over someone you've never heard of and tell these stories that you've never heard that are unbelievable. It's hard to believe they haven't made a movie about some of these, because they're astounding. But anyway, okay. Next question from I Am For I Am. Surprise. And I'll show the image in a second. Subverting corruption is putting a spotlight on that corruption. Blockchain is a powerful tool because it can provide transparency. That transparency allows the citizens to police their government. Question: what agencies would you prioritize to adopt blockchain in order to shine the light on corruption and rid those agencies of corruption?
Government Accountability Office. That's who I'd use.
They should be the ones to force
all their audits would have to go on chain.
Yeah, that would be a good way to get it across the entire.
Well, it'd be a good way to see where they're not looking, and then allow us to apply pressure to force them to.
Put boundaries. That's amazing.
This image is the Department of Treasury, and look at its complexity. And there's just thousands of people within each of those boxes practically, and then spread that over all the different agencies.
Well, and dude, this reminds me too so much of like that. I don't know if it was a real Assange speech, but they had Assange speak it in the filmification of him that they did called the fourth or the fifth estate or something like that.
Citizen?
Something?
Fifth estate. I don't know.
Anyway, the like, put the image back up, right?
All right. Right to here.
Two people and a secret. The top guy, right? And this guy over here on the left that swings out, right? Those two are the source of all corruption in this agency. Right? The leader and their second.
I disagree.
anybody else down the chain could be a part of it. I mean, structurally too, it can be corrupt as a system. That's true. There can be no corruption. They can be doing their job and just serving corruption.
Yeah.
But you have sleeper cells
but
underneath
point
them that are
remaining-
going to move up the chain and become.
And they, by the way, don't have to control this entire
the
org
point
chart
remains though.
to control it.
Any one of these job titles could represent a person who's moral enough to leak it.
Yes, that's true. If they catch wind and aren't threatened otherwise, right?
Yeah, that was the whole point of WikiLeaks, right? Like to make it so people weren't afraid to blow the
So
whistle.
who wants to go next? Who's going to say what was the question? What agencies would you prioritize?
Go ahead, Sean.
Switch off blockchain.
Yeah.
So ones we would have to keep instead of just
Well,
getting.
yeah, just say they're all there. We're not getting rid of any yet.
It could
This
be a
might how we
prelude to getting
decide.
rid of it if you want, man.
Yeah. Which agencies would you say need to have blockchain transparency?
I would think the IRS, and the NSA, and CIA first.
Okay.
I mean-
All right.
Those are good. Those are all good choices.
Yep. How about you?
Department of
Brian.
Treasury.
Department
That's a
of
good
Treasury.
one. That's a good
First
one.
and foremost. And then now I'm going to say, because it's a pseudo government organization, and that would include the Fed.
Yeah.
So the Fed
That's just
and the Department of Treasury is
Right.
the,
I mean,
what
I'm
I
gonna
would
tell you what.
Same thing now, basically. But
Yeah, I'm
But
gonna tell you.
OMB,
Well,
Office of Management and Budget, like you said, Greg, is kind of the umbrella over all of them,
Well,
right?
yeah, OMB would be good. You could also do the Office of Personnel, like and Staffing, which would get you
OPM.
all of the non-political appointee staff in their system. You would know who they were and what they were supposed to be doing according to
and you know
official
how many,
HR of the whole
you
government.
know if they're into bestiality in the past 10 years and if they've
Yuck.
smoked pot and all the rest of
Probably,
that.
but yuck.
Not to, anyway, you could keep a lot of that off, but I think it should be exposed. I think, hey, if you're gonna come in and take taxpayer money, we need to see what the hell you're about before you're there, right? But anyway, I think the correct answer, and I am got it partially right, although it is a cheat answer. The correct answer is the Fed and everything that flows from it. That the priority would be directly that, prioritized by how much of that money goes to wherever it goes, and require everything
Yeah,
has
I
to
would
be on
settle
chain,
for
or you don't
just
get
the
that fucking money.
FOMC closed meetings myself.
Joe, I think
turn
you're
the camera
wrong.
on that shit.
Joe, you're wrong. And
Why is
I'm
that?
going to tell you why. Sean was right. Because Sean was thinking, do we have to keep all these agencies? His first thought was, which ones can we get rid of?
Oh yeah, that was the actual right answer. He wins.
Well,
he
I
wins
mean,
the cake,
Kudos to
everything.
Sean.
I
On
think by the
chain could be a ZK roll up that you then settle, and in settling decide to close, right?
By the time we're going to have acceptance of blockchain in government, we're going to have a lot less of those agencies around.
Yeah, then that's the point. I think because once you get this in the Fed, it's gone. And frankly, this will only happen when the Fed collapses. Our only real hope, in my opinion, is that the Fed collapses and all of these different organizations lose this infinite money that they've had, and all of a sudden, you're going to be able to get stuff like this in, because all of the people that are there right now that are just vampires, just sucking the blood out of the system and killing people are all going to be gone. And whether they're gone from lampposts and ropes, or whether they're gone because they left the country, they're going to be gone. And then we're going to have a much smaller government, and you aren't going to be able to get rich and have a high life just as a freaking government employee, right?
It's a weird time.
Well, I mean,
I've talked about how it was so
eventually.
weird when reporters were using the term deep state when Trump was in. How it's like Area 51, like kind of they're admitting it. This is the way it works. This is how it is. And I've seen lectures this past week where people, these are university students who are being told, yeah, there's a government, but there's another government that's better funded, has more money, that technically runs things, and so it's like we're being set up to this is how it works. This is how it is. This is how it works. just go along with it. So it is coming to a time when.
Yep.
Dude, that's interesting. Imagine if on chain you created an actual constitution rather than the one that we have,
Yes.
where it's interpreted by some Brahmins at the top of the legal system, and we sort of have to read everything they ever wrote, and then we can maybe form opinions about what the Constitution as it's written actually says. What if on chain you put an actual interpretation of how the government runs in a constitution as it runs now? Like you just reduced it to ink.
Good God.
And then
Please
you
no.
could at least see in a medium that
the
you
problem
could,
is you wouldn't be able to see.
on.
It would be as jumbled as what you see right now. It'd be
right.
visible, but people wouldn't be able to understand it, and people would say, "What that?"
People would be
It's the same thing as
surprised how
Rand
many
Paul.
activist organizations and charities were on it.
Like when Rand Paul, when he gives his what is it? Is it Black Friday or Thanksgiving? When he gives all of his the government programs we're spending billions on, and he just lists them on Twitter. It'd be like that, where people are disgusted, but what happens? Nothing. I have a thought of that too. I think we should have a show at some point where it's like, let's build a better world, and it would be of, okay, the government. How are we going to set up a government? Because my thought, and I don't know if this will work, but at least one decent idea is you make completely objective laws, and there are issues with completely objective laws because the human component is out of it. Yeah, it's like, yes, this person.
You have to have very few
the
of them in order for that sort of thing to be tolerable to live under.
But that's the thing. I think you could have a system where you use smart contracts for extremely objective laws. They're limited. They're small. They're simple. If you steal something, you do pay a fine or you go to jail. But at the same time, you would have a secondary where in a DAO of the citizenry, let's say in that locality, in that state, if it's national, if it's treason or something like that, that the citizenry can say, he was starving. It's like, we get it. Let's say he doesn't go to jail, maybe a fine, and the citizenry would then be able.
Or we do jury nullification, right?
Right, but see, jury nullification though is in a closed room. It's only 9 people. The judge is going to be against it. You're going to have all these issues of confusion. It's still too subjective. Everything is so arbitrary in law. It's tyranny. It literally is. You have tyranny because there is nothing objective in the law. If I'm not the son of a senator, if I don't have a certain type of blood, I'm screwed. I can't do shit. Right. And
I like your idea, Joe, because you're talking about solutions, and obviously we're talking about post collapse, how it would all get rebuilt.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And going to the chat, Czar15 said, "I love the idea of blockchain transparency for the gov, but that's just never going to happen." And he's right. And
so it has to happen by probably an alternate route to power, which means regime change, right? You would have to have this in place and ready to rock when the existing system collapses under its own weight. It couldn't even be a part of bringing about its destruction if it wanted to have a legitimate shot at being prepared to take over when the time was right.
And Sar's making great points here. It's like the Fed will collapse when the dollar does, double-edged sword, but I think it's a necessary double-edged sword. Yeah. We all know it's coming. They all know it's coming. It's not a surprise. And it's like, what are they talking about?
Imagine if you could snap your fingers and then boom, you got, blockchain at the Fed, and now we're auditing the Fed and that kind of thing. Think about interest rates. What would interest rates do? And therefore, what would that do to the economy, your car payment, your mortgage payment, et cetera, et cetera? Inflation, that hidden tax that the Fed essentially is the puppet master for.
Yep.
There's a bitter pill to swallow in terms of investors taking a haircut, though, in our government. Like in our society, we've run up such a debt. Like that debt, that number is a whole bunch of money the government basically owes to people who bought U.S. bonds.
Right.
That's mostly American retirement accounts.
I think that the government would accept blockchain, but I think it has to do with what Joe said. There has to be something really scary to them, like the lamppost and rope. Just a few of them. The rest of them will be like, "Hey, we do have to fix this, by golly."
Yep. Oh, goodness.
They're scared for their life.
I would agree, except for I've been reading way too much Curtis Yarvin lately to think about it like this. If we want to be realists about it, if we want these people to go away, what we need is a universal pardon for anybody willing to take this last little piece of largesse, you're never going to unreplenish decent retirement plan where you have a stipend for the rest of your life if you just shut the fuck up and walk away. Most government employees would take that in a second and thank you. Retire with full bennies immediately. Oh, and anything you did, you just have to tell us, but you won't get in trouble for it because we're changing to something new. Focus is on the future, right? We let them all walk away retired, or if they want to insist and entrench, that's when you have the other alternative that will remain unspeakable, right? It's like sort of like an offer you can't refuse for the whole existing civil service.
Yep. Interesting stuff. So okay, next question. You guys want to go next question? Let's see here. I am. Let's see here. Let's say they say money is the root of all evil. The central banks control the money and the money supply. Cryptocurrencies, however, use code. It would seem the best way to subvert a government is to devalue their currency or provide a better alternative. I think that was tried in this recent past. Crypto could be the best option using smart contracts or mining algorithms. Unfortunately, most cannot scale, or they can't survive an attack from the very Fed. Sorry, I'm answering a bunch as I go. That they cannot even scale to match credit card transaction volume. Dragon Chain can. So what is?
And by the way, that's silly, Red. That's a freaking canard. You don't need to be able to do that in order to run a currency system. That's retarded.
True. So what is the solution to replace the monetary supply with a scalable cryptocurrency, and how would you do a fair rollout to citizens in a government? I have a weird answer to this. You care if I go first? Because I'll forget it. Because you guys will get into some important points. I'll forget it.
You have a microphone.
I had a thought because I was reading, and I like in between meetings and in between picking up the kids and stuff. I'm reading the Roger Ver book, right? Hacking Bitcoin, right? And in that, it feels like a cultural thing almost that might. And when I'm saying this is the answer, governance is obvious. That it was obvious that Bitcoin governance was not advanced enough, was not powerful enough to stave off this attack. And you could say, oh, it wasn't an attack, but whatever. That it's too easy to take over a small group of developers who hold the keys to the kingdom. And it's too easy to use propaganda, censorship, and a bunch of other things to attack one of these projects. We put some pretty, we've done a lot of research and a lot of testing with Den on how to do DAOs better and how to make them easy, scalable, usable, and most importantly, focused on behavior and reputation and not just the tokens, right? But Bitcoin, if you go back, you'll find a post of mine on the one of the Bitcoin groups, I can't remember which one, where during the block size wars, right in the middle of them, I was just perplexed at first and then disgusted. And I finally commented as like, hey, we need to make a decision on Bitcoin. And this is paraphrasing, I don't remember what I said, but we need to make a decision on Bitcoin, something where we all have cryptographic keys and can prove our balances and can prove, whatever else. Let's use a Twitter vote to decide this, right? And they were literally using Twitter to freaking vote. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? What are you here for? And to me, it says they were not here for the real reason of what Bitcoin was for. And therefore, Bitcoin failed. So one way or another, I think
the Bitcoin community has a lot of feds in it. Let's just put it.
Sorry, and this is a long answer. I apologize for that. But it kind of came into this where I've been thinking for a long time about our federal government and the fact that cultural things do apply. That calling someone an oath breaker or a traitor is almost meaningless now, right? Because they all are traitors and they all are oath breakers, and you can demonstrate that. Everybody knows it, and nobody gives a shit, right? I think we need to fall back, and it might be something that is well beyond religion, Christianity, Judeo-Christianity, or anything that is that you would define your morals. It's almost like, and if you go back and watch the series Rome, HBO, great series, right? If you go back and watch that, one of the striking things that I thought that I loved that they did was I don't even know how perfectly accurate this is, but it's definitely a little bit, that it was almost like the Republic was a religion. I mean, they did have gods, but if you cheated, it was, you couldn't come back from it. Your word meant everything. It's like, it's one of those, I can't remember the straight, one of the two characters, the straight guy represented this, that he believed in the sanctity and it was this sacred thing, the Republic. And that's why it was crazy when he was supporting Caesar, and it was a perfect, plot thing. But that's what we need. I think we need something where, and I think projects should have that, where it's all, where they become somewhat sacrosanct, that you will not cheat, right? So that we need something like that, right? That's my opinion. That's my answer.
Good opinion, man. I feel like you should write a book about this, because I feel like there are layers of ideas embedded in here that you have to just grok in order to see what you're seeing. But I bet that you've got the core of a big idea in what you just articulated. If I had all the money in the world, I'd use some of it to pay you to write a book about it.
Yep. I don't know. Someday I'll do that. I don't know.
That holds true for everybody.
Hopefully
we'll
build
show.
it. Here's the other question.
It'll be
another philosophical question. Writing a book versus building a system that itself is art, right? So if I can communicate it through it, like I would go to Dindal, that kind of describes a lot of it, not precisely the cultural side of it, but it's in there, so I don't know, some of that's there. Future of art. Anyway, who's next? Who's going to answer
this? We've rolled out monetary, we've changed money in big ways with like the euro, and I saw a story last week where this guy found this huge stash that his grandmother had saved up, like her whole life savings, but it was in pesos that are not accepted anymore. So they're worthless, because you have a certain period of time you can turn in your Deutschmarks or whatever, and get them for euros. So it's not like the citizenry wouldn't just follow suit whatever you told them.
I think what you'd have to do is you'd have to first decide who decides. And to do that, you would have to be able to quantify who really owns shares in, what you might call the primary property of, U.S. sovereignty, right? We live in a regime that owns a certain amount of things that it can collect taxes on other people owning it secondarily, right? If we're being completely honest, it's not the people, it's the government that owns the land on which Kansas and Texas and every other state in the United States is built, including all the military bases around the world and stuff. That is owned, right? Who owns it? We don't have a formal system of shares in primary sovereign property. I think we need that first, because then you would have a reasonable group of people who are actually legitimately interested in that property to organize an efficient wind down, and you just wind it down like a corp after you figure that out. The next thing you would have to do, in my opinion, is deformalize all the money, right? You take out all the laws that have anything to do with you can use this but not that, and you can use this but not that, or you have to use this, or you have to accept that, right? All of these rules about money transmission, gone, poof. And then you let the free market take over.
Yeah, because what the money transmission
just go full-blown Friedrich von Hayek and let the free market give us money.
86, is that right? Money transmission. I didn't realize that until yesterday. I read that money transmission laws were not a thing until 1986. That's when that law was put in.
Oh yeah, they've been tightening the noose since 1973 when the BSA started getting enforced.
Oh, and that's the other. Satoshi himself. His birthday is April 5th, which was the date of the Gold Confiscation Act in 1933. Right, when they grabbed all the gold, and the birth year that he chose was is it 1972 or 73 when the gold standard? Yeah, 72, I think, when the gold standard was suspended. Right.
Those when so there's like the initial suspension of the gold standard, right, was arguably when Nixon just declared that the gold window was closed for the Fed, right? Like that they would no longer, no matter who you were, trade Federal Reserve notes, circuit 2 money for gold.
Yep.
You just can't.
Yep.
Do you guys think probably more to the right of the curve on our little program, people who understand the two circuit system of money, but I would still bet that most people don't know that. How familiar are you guys with the two circuit system of money?
Well, that's what's used to monitor the velocity of money.
Right, but like when the Fed creates money, it creates circuit one money that can only go between banks.
Right.
And depending on how they create it, it can either force or not force the creation of circuit two money, which are like the foldables that you can find on any street corner in a cup that someone's holding.
Right. And the velocity is kind of funny because some of that information is now not available to the public anymore. So we're not able to monitor the velocity of money through the economic system like we used to be able to.
I trust them. Don't they tell us everything?
No. Oh yeah, maybe so. Maybe I'm just not up to snuff. But my answer to this, Sean made a good point that I didn't think through. The person hiding their money and saving their money under their mattress or digging a hole in their backyard and fearful, but an idea kind of getting into the meat and potatoes. Okay, I'll check the box that we have the technology to scale a cryptocurrency. We'll move on from that point. So the second point is a fair rollout to the citizens. Would it be something like, on January 1st, 2025, we're going to take a snapshot at midnight, and whatever dollar amount, however many dollars are in your bank account, that will be replaced by this currency. The next point would then be, okay, then assets are now rated at the same dollar value, whatever it was, what the value of, I'm using America, the US, as the US dollar. Dollars that are outside of the country, the same applies, whatever. They're sent into a specific address or location, and then that currency is shipped back to that individual who sent in or had registered those
how do you
assets.
Count for all the shadow forms of money, though, right? Like,
how do you count for
you really all of the collateralized debt obligations on on really long loans for an entire tranche of commercial banking in one region, right? Like,
true.
There's so much bullshit money out there that nobody thinks of as money.
True. And as well as the bullshit cash money that's being used by the CIA to buy drugs and fentanyl and bring into this country, as an example. Where's that go? Or how about the pallets of money that went to Iran? We gotta account for that and swap that out for the cryptocurrency, right? So yes, there's a lot of shadow and ugliness, and maybe
how many of them are tied up in a special drawing rights at the World Bank, right? Like,
having said all that, what we have here is it's already been done. This has already been figured out. All of those details and problems, and they have a solution for it. And it's real simple. It's called a CBDC.
Yep. They'll just do what they want to do. Okay. That was the last question. So, and we are at 58-minute mark. We can't go over this week. All right. So we are in the current events and memes portion of the show. So do you guys have any current events? I have a few going here, and I'll just kind of go through them real quick. First, the U.S. is seeking a 3-year sentence for Binance co-founder. Apparently, in his plea agreement or whatever they accepted, where he paid that $50 million fine, they said that he would only get, I guess, no more than 18 months, I think it said. And yet they've come back and said, nope, we lied, and we want 3 years. What do you guys think about this?
I think he's a political prisoner and deserves to be emblazoned on T-shirts as of the moment he steps into a cell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reposted somebody else 100%. The only reason they're going after CZ, and here's the thing. I was never a total supporter because I was always frustrated that he didn't actually know what the hell he was talking about half the time with crypto, and he should in that position. But
he didn't back the fuck down, did he?
He proved himself to be an honorable man when he essentially exposed SBF and FTX.
Yeah.
That was the most amazing thing ever, and he will forever deserve our praise and support because the only reason that they are going after him is because he took down their laundromat or whatever you want to call that, right?
Oh yeah, no.
Well,
and
Binance.
he stood
Would
on
you agree that
principle.
Binance was also a threat for Ethereum, their blessed creature?
Oh, very,
Okay,
that's very
that-
possible. I mean, BNB and all that. I mean, that they were getting a lot of adoption. There was, yeah, that's a very good point
ETH
too.
guy, man, I gotta say, he was never a terrible. His thing wasn't a terrible threat to us at any point.
Well,
We still
in my
haven't,
opinion, it shouldn't be looked at like that. It's like a Base and ETH and BNB and Solana and Avalanche, they are all competitors. Unfortunately, they're all mostly copy pastes of each other, which kind of sucks. I would like more variety
I mean,
in the actual.
EVM was an original idea.
I know, but I'm just saying they all copied it, which is it's like having all of your wheat in your country of the same string. And like all it takes is one of them to go down, and it's like, oh, guess what? They're all vulnerable, right? That's why Dragon Chain is where it is. But anyway,
in the
next,
chat, Czar15 says CZ not greasing enough palms.
that is the truth, right?
Well, no, not necessarily, right? Like there are not enough palms to grease when you're going after their golden goose, man.
True, there might not be.
Crypto they see and understand now. We know they understand now and have understood for a long time that crypto is the kind of threat to them that PGP posed to email surveillance in the 90s.
And you can look at Ross and see what they did to him.
Yeah.
So 36 months.
Yeah.
That's probably with a lot of greased palms.
The other thing to note, there is the chaos being a ladder, all that stuff. That when there's a lot of disruption, that's when we have to be aware of opportunities to get blockchain in, because you might have Caesar against the Republic, and it's like, guess what? If we help Caesar out, we'll be there, right? I don't know. That's the type of thing.
Well, I mean, you guys also keep in mind, right, that anytime you go longer than about 3 weeks of any kind of thing happening, people aren't going to remember this. We're going to forget about this in 8 months. We may remember and think about him when we hear a news story about him getting out on parole or whatever, right? But people are going to forget anything like this. But imagine if that said 300-year sentence. They learned their lesson from Silk Road. They're not going to make another, Ross figure. They don't want any more martyrs. 3 years is the perfect sentence.
Hopefully,
long enough
they just
for the world to forget that they let him out early. But it's short enough that people who might try to lionize him will be called out for saying, well, "Look at how much worse."
I tell you what, I would be the most avid supporter of Trump right now if he would have fucking pardoned Assange and Ulbricht, right? He didn't. Like, why not?
Might be in Guantanamo, swearing that he's not a Muslim to a deaf guard, right? Like if he did that.
I don't know. Next one. Sam Bankman-Fried turns rat. Scumbag of scumbag cooperates in lawsuits versus the celebrity backers of FTX. I mean, it's like it is scummy. It is, because most of those people, it's like, oh, poor celebrities, whatever. I mean, there's, I think any of them that we're doing that probably deserve a fine or something, but
it's not a rat. I'm sorry, but this is not the correct way to characterize it. If this were a rat,
are you saying he isn't a rat, or this is not rat-like?
No, rats turn to the state. The state is refusing to prosecute this. This is a civil suit.
I don't care. Rats can be civil too. I mean, he's a rat. This dude is a freaking rat.
I think you're all wrong. I think he's actually turning into a rat. Look at the picture. He's got rat-like features. He may be part of something.
How do you get more
no comment?
Than he already was.
He is a rat. It is.
I think Sean wins this one. Sean, you're right. He was already kind of a rat.
He was already a rat. Yeah, everybody should have known that at some type. I don't know what.
If he put his thumb in his mouth and blew real hard while plugging his nose, he'd probably I'd pop out like something out of the American
Apple
Tail.
Wow. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
This is an interesting one. I don't know if this fits into current events, but this gal essentially explores areas in Portland. And this one's supposedly not as bad as the last one, but this one she's going to this it says pedestrian walkway under a road, right? And this dude, she encounters this dude in his living room, and goes through. It's like, I don't know. It's just like this stuff
Dude,
is
this is fucking crazy.
America. What
It's
the hell's
insane.
going on? And
Yeah.
then a little bit of funniness, and I'm going to read this because it's hilarious. And it might be worth having him again as president just for the tweets. But wow, former AG Bill Barr, who led a lot of great people down by not investigating voter fraud in our country, has just endorsed me for president, despite the fact that I called him, quote, weak, slow-moving, lethargic, gutless, and lazy. Based on the fact that I greatly appreciate his wholehearted endorsement, I am removing the word lethargic from my statement. Thank you, Bill. Like, I don't know. You can't beat that. That is hilarious. That is so funny. Anyway,
Is that really
Dude.
what Trump said?
I don't know.
It's
It's funny
hardcore,
though.
man.
I'm not going to, it's like in a dream. Yes, this really
Yes,
happened. I don't
yes,
know.
dude,
It's
okay,
like,
good.
it's okay by me. I'm like, I will
Yeah,
accept
that
this
guy
as
is
true.
slimy. Oh
Yes,
my goodness,
very
his
Dude, that's
background.
such a good burn.
It is.
It's amazing.
It is. It's-
Okay, I have also a few memes that are they have audio, if it's okay.
in the news. What else?
Oh, in
is
the news.
happening
Tell me
in the
something else.
news?
Yes. Tell me.
I would like to make a comment. I was perplexed that we have all of those flags waving in Congress
Oh my
that
God.
are not the U.S. flag. And then what was interesting was, and it's all a shit show, clown show. Massey is getting fined by the Capitol Police for having that video up on his website of them cheering for the passage of the Ukraine and Israel funding bill and waving their flags. He's getting fined $500 a day. Every day it's on the
What?
his website, because there is a law in Congress that Congress shall not release personal videos, and post them on social media without the consent of the members of the House.
Repeal the law, man. That one needs to
So
go.
he's getting fined $500 for it.
But
Well,
isn't
that's
that
really true.
Scott Adams.
Wait
Scott
a minute.
Adams,
Hold on.
okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is going to bring J6 into question, but isn't that a public building paid for by taxpayers?
I think it is.
Well,
Yes.
You can go on
Yes.
YouTube and there's all these people who are assholes, but they're love them. They just go into the county capital and they just stand there. Some of them like have put weird like crow makeup on, and they wear tutu and have a beard and they're weird, but they're like, oh hello, I'm just filming, and they want to freak people out. People call the cops. Cops going, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just filming. And if the cops do anything, they sue them. I mean, these people have sued like so many police.
I want that meme hand painted.
So isn't that so you can film from anywhere if it's a public building or and it's paid for by taxpayer money? So couldn't anyone in Congress? They're there. It's where they work in a public building.
We came face to face with this,
it's
right?
an actual Congressperson's video.
Yeah, if they're at work, they would be the ones I think could be most allowed to film.
Well, in that, this is just another example, I think, of that weird conundrum we keep running up against. This pleasant fiction in our society that the government is, a tool, and we are the people who wield it through our popular sovereignty. But in reality, what we have is a nice story about that we like to tell, that we only ever have to contradict every once in a while when something like this happens, right? January 6th was a reminder that in a modern Western democracy, there's still a such thing as sovereign property.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something me and John talked about a lot that we didn't go over.
They'll remind us with
going
guns
over the
and bars.
government stuff.
Mhm.
You do know there's like 40 agencies, not like 3.
Okay.
Oh, at least.
I think it's
Oh,
more
yeah.
than 40, aren't there?
Yeah, it is.
Nice.
It is more than 40, but
More than 40 we
Unbelievable.
know about, and probably more than that.
there is a lot of interagencies within agencies, and like there's stuff with the EPA where they just it's. Remember, Get Smart. There's control.
I had to sign back in. Yes.
Dude,
Yeah.
I thought that was part of the meme for a second. I got
Yeah,
tickled.
me
I was
too.
like,
I had to
what's
sign
wrong
back
with
in.
my computer?
Oh shoot!
Did
The
anybody
other
else
thing I was
like-
going to
I'll be
say
right
is Scott Adams.
Whatever.
Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, he has his own podcast, and I've been getting addicted to it lately.
Really?
I really like his take on this. But when you were showing the memes on the the videos really of the drug addiction and the fentanyl, he lost his stepson, and he said that was his number one voting issue come the 2024
Fentanyl.
election, was whichever candidate was going to go after that. Well, he has switched. He has switched completely because he realizes now that really it's the what's the word? Intel super state is wanting that disruption, de-evolution, degradation of our society, and is allowing that. And that is the issue. It's not the elected officials not doing anything to stop the
My
influx.
nephew was killed by fentanyl.
Yeah.
Really?
It's very
Well, no,
Sad.
yeah. It's very, very prominent.
he was killed by the drug war.
He was killed by the Intel super state.
Right, the
Yes.
Intel Super
Yep.
States drug war. That that
That's
has
part of it.
as a natural
just
side
one-
effect created more.
That's
potent,
just one program that they
deadly
have.
substances that are easier to transport.
Yeah, that's just one program. By the way, friends, don't let friends visit Reddit. Okay, always remember that.
Go to din.social instead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Social. Bernie.
Or
Bernie
if you
meme.
want, search it on Reddit, take a screenshot, and then come over here and post it in the real place.
Please, thank you.
I was watching some video of this guy. I forget, but it was some gotcha clickbait thing, and he's like, "Oh, what you say? This is all alleged, and I have done my research. I got all this information from the news site Reddit. This." he just said it just like that. I was like, "Are you serious, man?"
It's
News site.
hilarious.
What's sad is Reddit's being used to, train AI. But I got a big one for you. I was listening
He's rolling in his grave, man.
I was listening to pre-search weekly whatever news updates, and Rice Crypto's now on that, kind of facilitating the conversation.
Mhm.
And he mentioned it something towards the end, and I go, whoa. And then I never went back to research it. And maybe some of you have heard this, but there's conversation out there that Library, LBRY, is going to get a reboot. And maybe it would be on Cardano or someone else's blockchain.
Mhm.
And in other
Saw
words, they're copying the code somehow, somewhere, and
It's Cardano.
going
UTXO?
offshore,
I didn't know
going
that.
offshore with it. Has anyone heard anything about that?
I've just seen it on
Okay,
Twitter.
so Library is a UTXO protocol. It means it's actually based on the way Bitcoin runs, right? It's not using the lingua franca of EVM. So it's not going to go on in a code copy type fashion, anything based on the original EVM design that Vitalik drew up. So if it's coming on something that's built on the Bitcoin model as opposed to the Ethereum
Cardano.
model.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is possible then that somebody is going to reboot this decentralized in a decentralized manner offshore, whatever. SEC can't touch it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
has anyone heard
it
this?
Sounds like if they put it on Cardano, it's because they think that Cardano is protected somehow, which it very well might be. I mean, it's protected on Wikipedia. He paid somebody, right? He hasn't, they've not come after him, right? Maybe he's protected.
Amazing what all the people who were part of that pre-sale distribution have done with their wealth.
Yep. Oh, you got a license for that meme? Anyway.
Stupid Bobby.
Yeah, I saw that. I hope it comes back. But you never know. Here's a Joe Biden one. Who saw the Joe Biden speech where he just reading the teleprompter pause? Freaking hilarious.
Oh, he does that so much. Like he's Ron Burgundy in a way. Which I hate how adorable it is because I don't like the man otherwise. But in a way, it's sort of like if this were an alternate reality sitcom, he would be a lovable bad guy. And it's like there's this rube here. He'd be like their Brick Tamlin, sort of. He would just say these stupid things and do this stupid crap, and people would just laugh, and then everybody would go on with the serious business of whatever the real world's about.
that's something that blows my mind. How, because it's so upfront in your face, in the face of the United States, that she has this book, this diary, where she wrote that he did all this stuff to her.
Yeah.
She is recorded as saying, "Yeah, that's mine. I wrote it. That's mine. Give me my stuff back." And then they had the FBI raid place that it was FBI and the Department of Justice and say, "Oh, yeah, where's this? We just want the diary." I mean, it's
well, they didn't she go to jail or something, right? The lady who found the diary.
Oh, okay, maybe she got arrested.
They accused her of having
Florida.
stolen it, and
Arrested
she found
in
it in. She found it in some public place that it was left, and she, and they did not like her making it public, right?
Yeah, I feel like that whole thing was kind of an op.
Yeah, Ashley had rented some apartment, co-rented an apartment or something like that in Florida with this other lady, and she left it behind when she moved out.
Yep.
That's how I understood it.
Get in the box, guys.
Dude, so much shit happens to them by what they leave behind in that whole family, right? Look, you abandon a laptop. Holy shit. You abandon a diary. What the fuck? You abandon boxes of documents in your garage.
I watched some psychologists talk about that, and they said that it's a cry for someone to help.
Yeah.
That
they want to be caught.
Help.
I mean, Jesus. I mean, you look even at the stuff that they found. They found cocaine in a car. He rented a car, left it at the airport, didn't return the car, left cocaine in it, left multiple passports in it, left a whole bunch of other illegal shit.
They found fucking cocaine in the Oval Office too.
The Secret
Service couldn't figure it out though.
They couldn't figure out
people
who that was.
Who were tasked with finding people who were counterfeiting money. Can't find it. Like,
it is
catch
such
me
a
if you can,
fucking
guy.
joke. I mean, and they're talking too. Like I should have brought up a comment I saw on Twitter about was it Massey who had posted the flag waving, all the fucking traitors on the House floor waving their own flag. Fucking go there if you want. And someone commented is like they're fining him $500, and on the other side they're filming gay porn in the conference rooms, right? And that's
yeah, that's right.
What fucking reality do we live in? And like I said before,
you should be in there with the J6 people if it was any kind of equivalent.
I think we need something that is where we would say, okay, here's a new republic, and we are going to treat it as it is sacred. And if somebody does something like that, maybe it isn't a law, but they're going to get taken care of. So I don't know. I don't know.
They could prosecute him under Sarbanes-Oxley if they're going to go to January 6th route.
I think it's so beyond that. What are the stages of grief? And I don't know where I'm at, but for me, America's gone. It's dead. It died. It was a coup a long time ago. Maybe in 62, right, when JFK was shot.
13. But I think that was
it's an idea, man.
And so, it's an idea, but that idea is lost. It's gone. And so I feel like I've gone through the stages of grief. And when I talk and think about the umbrella promise, I'll be honest with you. I'm thinking this is maybe something for the rebuild, because it's certainly it's going to get squashed and smashed. And it'd be pretty difficult to get this grassroots movement going and implemented. But I'm like frustrated because do I want to implement it in this corrupt, ugly system?
You just need to get it prepared. You need to be ready for what comes, because it'll hopefully be a piece.
No, we need to start the foundation though, to a certain degree.
Exactly.
Right.
And by the way, this meme right here, one of the potential things that is going to collapse everything is when they finally get their wishes and they have a nuclear exchange, World War III, and they come to us for the draft. And guess what? And this meme spells it out. None of the fighting age is going to go.
Right.
And it's going to be a bizarre thing. Everything's going to be overnight. Boom. So I don't know.
Just like, I don't know. I noticed that like this week that used to be a stigmatism attached to draft dodgers. And now, like Cheech and Chong were on his podcast, and they were like, "Yeah, we were up in Canada, dodging the draft, and everyone's like laughing about it, and it's I'm sure that's what's going to happen. And but a point on that, I would want to ask y'all about that, because we're talking about the money thing. So there's no more French francs because they use euros. But
there's probably still an illicit trade in
it's not illicit.
in free end of French franc.
They don't accept. They're not.
There's several countries in Africa that use French francs as their money. That's where the Third World War is coming from, because Russia they've been having a proxy war in Africa with France. France did this neo colonialism where they took from the U.S. They just rule the country by the money, and they get all the resources. I think France has more nuclear power plants than any other country. They have like 23.
Yeah.
And so, but they get all the uranium from what is it? But the Faso. Faso, and that country only produces like 5% of the world's uranium, but literally 100% of it goes to France.
The crazy part about that is we could probably, with about 7 or 8 years of effort, get machinery put together to just sift it out of seawater, and we have like basically an infinite supply of all of the rare earths, everything. It's all in seawater. It's crazy.
But
we just don't collect it.
Now there's all these unrest and warlords and whatnot. So Russia has started moving in, giving money. Like China was doing with the One Belt, One Road.
China was too,
helping the country. They have a whole Africa Corps of their military now. Russia does, and France doesn't like it because they're losing their money, they're losing their resources there, they're losing their hold in Africa.
So you think that's why? Does this precede the start of the reheating of the rewarming of the proxy war in Ukraine?
Yeah, that's Russia. France literally has called for everyone to send troops. They called the U.S. pussies. I mean, they said, I think they said cowards. I think they said cowards.
Well, we did that to them like over 9/11. So.
Well, they said a lot.
They're a freedom fry slap.
We and other European countries are cowards if we don't send actual troops. And I was like, why would they do that? And then I literally looked into it for like 15 minutes, and the whole Africa thing opened up. And I was like, oh.
These people are supposed to be the fucking adults in the room, too. This is the really annoying thing. Do you guys watch Glenn Greenwald's System Update ever? He was talking about this like yesterday or last week, saying how the adults in the room phrase is being trotted out in the mass media to describe the Speaker of the House doing what that asshole just did for the national security state. Like they even trotted out Liz Cheney to write an op-ed and over this one to like try to protect him from the inevitable fallout of his betrayal. But the really fascinating thing is they consider like knee-jerk go to war as the adult in the room attitude to have. This is ridiculous. It's like we've been taken over. Franklin Delano Roosevelt destroyed the economy, but not before Teddy Roosevelt destroyed our souls by injecting us with this kind of adventurism. The romantic idea that war is beautiful and that we only find our meaning through Spartan combat. It's a joke. And the whole thing, the whole idea that governments are built on this and this is driving world politics is a bitter pill, but a really funny one when you think about it.
I'll be here. I'll get it.
I have thought I've used the thing that you said so many times, and it's so brilliant. Which I think you did one other time. You said something and off the cuff, and it was like, whoa, changed my life. But that was, hey man, whenever people are arguing, no, this you can't talk. I said, throughout history, can you tell me one time when any government or group or entity tried to control the information on something or censor it, that group was in the right, that they weren't the bad guys? Just once.
Right.
Ends it. ends it, and they get pissed, and I'm like, look, man, just give me one, and I'll agree. I'll agree that you're right.
Yeah, that's why I've said this lately too. Essentially, any censored content should be, in my opinion, in my life, I'm going to consider it to be true unless proven otherwise. And that's the way
it's
like
at
you're going
least
to
weak
censor it,
evidence
it's true.
if you're going to be a Bayesian rationalist about it, right?
That's the way it is. It's crazy.
The issue now is finding that censored content. It's harder to find now.
Yep.
Well, I mean, and to know, like, for instance, that's awesome. To find and know that you're not being fed, because the people that are up against us in the propaganda generating machines are clever people. They hire for clever, right? They're going to pick people who can understand that we're going to understand that they're lying and so on until you get to the Solzhenitsyn quote, right? Everyone knows, or they know that they're lying. We know that they know that they're lying. They know that we know that they know that they're lying. It's a recursive thing that creates levels of subterfuge. There are lies being told to us that they know we will spread as truth. And there are truths being told to us hidden in that.
Can I make a comment about this, Japan?
I want to say something too. They do so many things that are wrong, that are just big government, wrong in my head, fascist. Like if you get arrested, you're guilty till proven innocent. But there's so many aspects that are just.
I do want
that are
you
great
look at this.
That are great about their society.
It is a totally different thing living in a high trust society. I won't say that the middle America, right, is as high trust as what you're seeing in this video, right? But I would say if I walk downtown in the small town that I live in and I dropped a wallet and a bunch of money flew out, I guarantee people would pick it up and give it back to me. They wouldn't pick it up and run off. And it's a totally different, because Seattle, even in Bellevue, where's a super nice place. No, it's pretty much you can't trust that.
To me, this is how humans behave when they're not under blind pressure to behave otherwise.
Having lived in Japan, this speaks volumes, because that's exactly what I experienced when I lived there. And I don't want to
they're not as much like that with guys that look like us, though.
Absolutely. Their doors were wide open for the gringo or Nisei.
The gaijin, right?
The gaijin. For the Nisei and the gaijin. Actually, probably more. The Nisei means half Japanese. 2%.
And by the way, I think
I tell you, in Japan, that they are very harmonious. Way of living. Even they talk about the Mount Fuji being that I can't speak, volcano, and the concept is if you climb one side of the mountain and I climb the other, your religion represents your side of the mountain, my side is my religion, and we'll meet God at the top if we persevere and are diligent and live a good life, etc. And then we'll be together at the top with God. That's a very harmonious way of looking at it. Now, not to disparage the Chinese, if you look at what happens in China, people scatter the opposite direction. If someone falls, gets trips on the sidewalk, is hurt, injured, passes out, because the law now is so detrimental to the Good Samaritan versus, and that's the flip, that's the difference. Now, I can't, obviously what Japan did during World War II is horrific. And that what you're seeing here now in this video is a complete different from obviously World War II.
That Japan's kind of gone. Yeah. The reconstructed Japan is a new animal.
Yeah. Yep. Here's another current event in the form of a meme. I don't know if you guys saw this story.
No.
Supposedly, he was tired at one of his when he had to be in the court, and he was passing gas like crazy, and his lawyers were having a rough time. And I don't know if it's true, but it's like
that is why they don't allow cameras in courtrooms, man.
There's
so much farting going on in courtrooms.
There is a genocide going on, a Holocaust, if you will, in the Middle East right now, and they're covering an ex-president farting. Anyway, it's just ridiculous.
Also on that Japan thing. I grew up
political acts.
I grew up in Europe, in Germany. I remember how weird it was that the trust that people had with each other. and like a store, like stores would close between like 12 and 2 everywhere, but they wouldn't bring the stuff in. It would still be out in front of the store, like all
Nice.
the vegetables or the stuff that out there, and nobody even thought to steal it. And
You know,
this is West Germany. When I was in the hospital a few months ago, my best friend came down, and he calls West Germany. His
Nice.
mom's German, so he was born in Germany, and he really, it's a whole different country now.
Yeah.
there are a lot of still old communist undertones to the subculture of East Germany, right? Like it still feels a little different when you cross over the place where the wall used to be.
See, I never
Because
haven't been.
some of the folks who were that was the coolest experience about, like, it's when I went for was it East Berlin, and all right before the authoritarianism crisis took over and everybody started working from home, right? I stayed on the east side and the conference was on the west side of the wall. And crossing over between the two, if I took an Uber from the east side, you got some guy who's like a grumpy old communist who was pissed about the regime change still because he thought life must have been way better back then, even though he was like a baby when it happened. And then you've got the west side that's far more identifiably Western in its roots, more capitalist. You can just sort of tell. It's an interesting distinction to still make, Sean. I think that's a cool idea.
All I remember East Germany is that I got an AK pointed at me by a communist soldier.
Nice.
And it looked run down, and we were supposed to go on a field trip, and we didn't make it through Checkpoint Charlie. The bus had to turn around and leave if something happened. It was rough being 12. It's like, they told us, if you do anything wrong, you have to stay with this. You stay with the group. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. They will shoot you. And so we were all already like on edge going there. And then, when the guards were like, pulled their weapons. And
wasn't there like a phenomenon of suicide by wall where if people wanted to kill themselves on the west side, they could just put their back to it and start running away, and one of the guards would just shoot them thinking they were an escapee.
Yeah.
Going back to the draft thing, boy, the last place you're going to go now is Canada.
Yeah.
Trudeaunistan. I think we need to.
You're going to be you'll be picked out of a crowd real quickly if you went to Mexico.
Though at the same time, like,
man,
what's weird, and this comes to another current event we should touch on, is the crazy ass anti-speech behavior of the current governor of Texas. I tried an experiment the other day.
Yeah, I was going to.
I took a quote from Justin Trudeau, changed the guy's name to Abbott, and replaced all the Canada reference with Texas references, and put them side by side, and it was impossible to tell. He's basically going Trudeau over this university protest nonsense.
We have half of the show here are Texans, and so I've already berated you guys about the red heifers. You guys are wanting the Third World War to come, and now they what did he just add? He arrested a bunch of students because they were against what is that? So here, let me see here.
He called for their jailing.
Okay, there you go. Okay, yep. Because they're calling out against genocide, right?
Right. Same guy who was definitely calling Trudeau.
We should
call
talk
for the
about
jailing
that.
of the truckers.
What is this one? Because I was too busy this day.
Did you see? So the Fox guy asked, Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is, and she just said, she was like, look, and then she said it was some completely, war's bad, war never changes, war's rough. And then the guy's like, yeah, but he said that his uncle was eaten by cannibals. Look, man, everyone says stuff sometimes, and that's how it is.
Maybe he's partially Haitian.
You could tell how she was just it was so hilarious. I sent out here. I'm sending something to you in the private chat.
Okay.
This is really weird. It's very weird. It's Jeff Berwick. If you want to play it, I thought it was
Okay.
really
All right. I
weird.
will. There's here. Let's see here. You tell me if you can hear the audio.
Yeah,
I'm not logged in.
Click the little audio. There you go.
And by the way, I think.
Okay, so let me refresh it so we can get to the beginning.
I'm always a Jeff fan.
And
That's
know,
like a little premillennial dispensationism.
and they're trying to bring in the Antichrist on April 22nd. And by the way, I think the Antichrist is, just so you know, Barack drone bomber.
Americans know that Israel and the United States share common values, that we defend common interests, that we face common enemies. Iran's leaders know that too. You know, for them, you're the great Satan, we're the little Satan. For them, we are you and you are us. And you know something, Mr. President? At least on this last point, I think they're right. We are you and you are us. We're together.
Did Jesus really reveal the name of the Antichrist? I will
Should I
report
stop
the
it?
facts.
No,
Tell me
You
when.
can decide.
Okay. All right.
In Luke chapter 10, verse 18, Jesus said these words, "And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning falling from the heavens."
Oh yeah, that's
These
an old
words are
Out of
written in
context.
Greek and
That's really old.
translated to English. However, Jesus spoke these words originally in Aramaic, which is the most ancient form of Hebrew.
Oh man.
That's
you know,
also
the
a
Old
super mega
Testament was written in
simplification
Hebrew.
too.
So what are the words for lightning and heights or heavens in Hebrew? From the Strong's Hebrew Dictionary, word number 1299, a primitive root word meaning to lighten or lightning or to cast forth, the word is barak. So lightning or a flash of light
This is
in
really old
Hebrew
sound.
is pronounced barak
I
or
had never-
barak. Now consider this amazing fact. The book of Isaiah is the source of origin for the Christian concept and understanding of Satan, or Lucifer, as Isaiah calls him, in chapter 14, especially in verses
Also an
12
illusion.
through 19. In Isaiah chapter
You tell me when to stop it.
14,
I don't know how long.
verse 14,
People
Lucifer,
need to have
or
read the
Satan,
Bible to be able to understand
credited
what
with
people
these
are talking
words.
about, and I don't think
I
that
will
narrative has.
ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. In the verses of Isaiah that refer directly to Lucifer, several times it is mentioned that Satan has fallen from the heights or from the heavens. The Hebrew word used in this text for the heights from which Satan fell is Strong's Hebrew word 1116, pronounced Bama. Bama is most commonly used to
Please stop.
refer
Hey,
to a
Barack
high.
Obama.
Okay.
And there's a middle word that says. I thought that was.
May I real fast here
Yeah.
just stick a pin in a balloon I'm seeing in this video real fast. I like
Yeah.
the beauty of the assembly of the ideas and the presentation. It's well done, but they're oversimplifying that book. You cannot understand it without understanding how a text evolves over centuries and centuries of
Yeah.
revisions by different groups.
And I would even say I
to
think
make it inscrutable. You can't draw these kinds of conclusions from it without actually having a
Yeah.
pointer in some strong historical research with primary sources, and that doesn't exist for this book.
well,
The
and I
institution
think half of
may
it
have
too
it,
is too much is put
and
on
they probably
it,
don't
right?
have it.
Right? Like so okay, I'm gonna show some, and okay, I can't do this one. I'm gonna at least show some friendly memes now, okay? And hopefully
Rest in peace, Gene Roddenberry, creator of Star Trek.
oh, did he
Yeah.
die?
Yeah, you got it a while ago.
His ashes are
Oh,
already
I
in
see,
space.
I see.
Part of them.
Sorry. Like, oh yeah, I thought maybe it was new. It was like, oh
Yeah.
Have you seen Discovery?
he's Lucille Ball is responsible for them
Yes.
doing that, right? You know that?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I did not know that.
Really?
She
Funded?
used all her pull to bring Star Trek
She
back.
was friends and told them, no, you need to listen to him and let this happen, right? And
Yeah, I think
did.
season 2 and 3 are Desilu Productions.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Now I
my
remember.
grandma, who's the gal who was her sidekick in Lucy
Ethel.
Ethel.
Thurman.
I can't remember the name of the actual actress. She's from Cherryvale, Kansas. and she went to high school with my grandma. They were in place. My grandma said, "Oh, she
Oh,
was
that's cool.
shy, but this girl was like always, you know." So anyway, it was as a kid, it's like, "Oh, that's cool." Anyway,
And it has cool people in it.
yeah. Okay, here's one. This is a friendly meme. Right? It's like it's good stuff, right?
Toro knows the song.
Oh, I hope we don't get copyright.
No, the bird's making sufficient revisions. This is original
it's
work.
pretty good. It's a full minute. Too.
That's good.
Actually, it's kind of like a generative AI when you think about it from a copyright standpoint. The bird interpreting itself is like a definite.
I just love it. Okay, now this one.
Impressive.
Bird GPT.
Baby, one thing about me is everybody know I'm super with a good Gucci, so I always make a lot of money.
That's amazing.
This is great.
I didn't know that about you.
What do you know?
That you're a musician. But that's why I'm interviewing you today, so I can get to know you.
So I'm a musician.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck that mean? Make magic or something? What is musician?
I think you're confusing that.
Yeah, I'm not no musician. I make music. I make music. And that's not all I do. I make music. I act. I'm a TV star too, a young mogul.
Just really quick, I think you're confusing.
I'm not confusing nothing because you don't know. You thought that all I was a magician or whatever the fuck you said.
See, that's what I think you think I said. No, I said musician, not magician.
I don't think, baby. I don't think. What is that? That's ghetto. I don't think. I know.
So you think. I didn't say magician, Suki. I said musician.
To be decent, easy to use.
And I think you are a musician.
No, baby. I do music.
So you just really quick. For the record, could you say you don't think you're a musician?
I'm not none of that.
But then after that, you just said I do music.
Yeah, I do music.
So in other words, you're a musician.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I saw this bird one where this bird was singing.
I'll this last one and all. Okay, what was it? Sorry.
It was like, and it was like Epstein didn't kill himself. Right? It was pretty funny.
Smoke rings.
Yes. Oh, and then here's one for the audience. That was a beautiful, brilliant meme. Well done.
Yeah.
And then I'm done. I think that's all of them. I'm back to last week's set. So
nice.
I only had to filter a few. I did have to filter a few, but I only had to filter a few. So if any of them snuck in that offended you, I do apologize for real.
Yep. And remember, whoever is tasked with watching this from the SEC, that we are encoding secret messages that are relevant to your case.
That's true.
In the order of these memes.
Yeah.
And you don't know the algorithm, and it's secret.
Yeah, and lots of
so you just have to write it down and analyze it by hand.
Right. Yeah, lots of illicit activity that is steganographically encoded into the memes.
Sometimes we don't always do it.
Not always. Yeah, we wouldn't always. We've talked about this. There's some obscurity there, present, right? And they might have to go talk to their buddies at the NSA to
So tell your boss you need another week on the project because we added more.
Yeah. Yes, every week I'm just keep doing it, right? And also encoded messages on 4chan, and anonymous messages on den.social, right?
Yep.
So that's how that works. That is how that works.
There's also a new channel on Warpcast created sometime within the last month that you should check out too. It's not mine.
Nice.
I got some news. I'm excited. I got a new book came out, and I'm going to get it today. It's called The Final Analysis on the JFK assassination. But what it is there's a guy who, what's his name? Dr. David W. Mantic. He's an expert with X-rays and new technology, and he used the X-rays on the JFK from the headshot to determine that there were actually two right front shots and one from the rear at a different angle that did not support Lee Harvey Oswald's shot projectile Anyway, I'm excited about the book.
That's
cool.
cool. I wonder whether they're going to tell us the truth on that.
The final analysis. Did you know the concrete slab that was a curb that got hit by a bullet has been locked up for 75 years?
Really?
Yes. The curb that's got a shot from the bullet, they cut it out and they sent it off to DC, and it's now locked for 75 years.
I sent you a tweet in private chat. We could talk. That's kind of a big deal for current events that the government is sending, what is it, $95 billion out for war and not a penny to our own
border.
people. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a prime example how we are not represented.
Yeah, it's such a basic punch in the face. If they would have put 10 million towards the border, homelessness, anything, I think like that would be okay for the masses. Here's, a little something, just shut up. But there's nothing. It's all going to other places and for war, for people to kill. And I mean, in the whole thing, it's weird. I agree with the Young Turks, which I never thought I would do. But they're like,
that video.
How can you sit there and say, I'm against you doing this, you should stop this, or call for a ceasefire, here's some extra bombs and some extra money, but we need a ceasefire now and stop, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, this is the one. Yep, right here, right?
No,
and I called it traitors.
I sent you a private chat. I sent it. It's just also Brandon Herrera.
Is it this one?
Which
is this one right here?
Yeah, his guys running against has put some major slanderous ads out. He's a gun YouTuber, so there's so much of him just cussing and joking and making inappropriate stuff. I mean, and they just put it all together, and it's like for the children. Because he says motherfucker a bunch of times and jokes about stuff. I mean, it's an adult channel, and they put it all together in this woman's like, I'm a mother, and I don't want my son to grow up watching Brandon Herrera. And then they have all these for one of the guys 19, and he's saying shit.
It's a good point. I mean, we are such a divided nation. We can't agree on the fundamental principles like the Bill of Rights. Example, Second Amendment. And if this segregation is maybe by design or divisions by design by big tech and social media and the Intel super state, then maybe the answer is we go ahead and stay divided. Because my personal opinion is the Constitution is dead in DC.
Yeah.
And so that means we also have no representation, there. So we're in a taxation without representation 2.0, right? Or am I wrong?
What you talking about? I'm not
never really
representative. I'm not representative. I don't do magic.
We must save democracy.
Oh God, we got to save democracy from politics.
I could not find it. I was looking. I really tried to find it. There's a meme where it's the meme where the guy shoots the guy in a chair, right? But he lists all of the conspiracies of the JFK assassination except for one. There's one that's never mentioned, never included, never broadcast. It does not exist. It's impossible to find anything about it unless you watch C-SPAN from in the 80s or something.
Are you talking about 811 plus 100?
Well, it's the same group that did those both, but it's that.
Gotcha.
I
know.
Anyway, it's interesting stuff. And I keep pushing memes. I should stop. I'm just kind of addicted to them.
Housekeeping item. Should we go back to reposting this on X as well? And why did we stop?
It's on X. Let me see here. Maybe it's on X on Den. Maybe it's not on. No, it's on Dragon Chains X.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
My
It
apologies.
is. And the broadcasts do also show up there, and we usually get hundreds at least just from that every time. So
okay, good.
My thanks everybody for joining.
I should have followed up on that myself.
Do we? And I've been okay. I will pull these off so I can check while you guys are. Oh, what happened to Greg?
Yeah, he just dropped.
Okay, here we go. Here he is. Okay. Okay. So that we don't run over, we're at we have 10 minutes exactly. So I
don't know if that's Greg or not because it's a different background. Greg, what's your password?
I was messing with you, actually. I was hoping somebody would think I was not me.
Yep. I don't think it's
This
AI
is my,
Greg.
I'm real me's in a black bag now. This is just a generative replacement.
One more
this
current
was on my
event
dead man search, guys.
We didn't cover AI being used by the IRS to inspect normal people's bank accounts. I don't know if you saw that. That they supposedly.
Yeah, I did see that.
That's crazy. Anyway, all right, I am for Am. What's happening next week?
Talking to everybody, I would encourage you to all go to din.social. Please post something, say hello. You can find me there, din.social. You're going to see that it's an opportunity, and I'm going to leave it at that because I believe in the Matter token is really suppressed in price. And yes, it may sound a little bit like number go up, but it's also kind of a counterpoint. So go find me on din.social, and I'll challenge you. If you are a new user on din.social and you go and post something in the layer called introduce yourself, layers or categories, go post something, introduce yourself, do a few postings, and I will personally send you 100 Matter. But I want to see 7 days of consistent posting. Come find me.
Right on. I'll double it. So you just have to tell me when, so I can make sure I do it. All right.
If those guys both do with their thing, he doubles it and he pays you. I'll do something that I'll make up on the spot.
Right on. Right on. Sean.
The usual. Check me out on Tuesdays with Lisa for Truth Tuesdays.
Yes.
I'm gonna try to have some interviews with some people the next couple weeks. Obviously not Joe because he doesn't want to interview with me.
I want to. I was going to ask you. You've never invited me.
Yes, it's fine. I watched the interview. It's cool.
I think you could probably approach it from we could do the full red pill thing, but actually record it this time.
Okay.
Let's do it.
If not, you can just go over to my channel, watch my review of Jizz Lord coin. It's
right on.
It's about what you think. It is. Yeah, check me out on social media, all that. Love y'all.
Right on. We will. Make sure you subscribe to him too, because they have a ton of videos out, and sometimes I miss them. I will say, just like a year and a half ago, YouTube finally started popping them up notifications. So before that, I would never see anything. Right? I wouldn't know they're
good
happening.
stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Greg, what is up?
Hey, awesome. Okay, so I think that I'm going to take just a quick second to thread an idea for people, and I want to see if anybody can try to build it. For all the builders out there, your charge, if you are willing to accept it, is to build a decentralized, autonomous, unstoppable code-based WikiLeaks that does not vet or pre-check anything, but has the same rubber hose front end that you can still get open source. You can find the link on wikileaks.org. And if you hook that into a system of an appropriately distributed nature, and then make sure that there's a smart contract to publish it, we could have WikiLeaks with no weak single point of failure known as Julian Assange.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. That's what's needed. It needs to be protocol based. There needs to be a protocol based dead man switch. Right.
Yep. And if Rivet can help you, then you should check it out because it's a really good way to access infrastructure. Yes. But you don't have to use us. Just
and we'll put a dragon bounty on that too. So and a Matter bounty. Right.
Is anything happening with him that's positive now?
Sort of. Yeah, he actually sort of won on an argument. The U.S. has to reliably prove they'll allow him to raise a First Amendment defense, which the prosecutor currently is on record saying that they wouldn't be. So that's a pretty high burden. They might not be able to extradite him.
Cool.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I had known about the First Amendment thing, but okay.
Man. Okay. And as for me, I go to Den, do stuff on Den. Make sure you follow Dracaria World. Hopefully there's going to be a new probably an important as for technology section of the white paper that will be going out relatively soon. They're going to start giving away gateway keys relatively soon. Hopefully Sean will have, I want to be on an interview, Sean, before that. We mentioned it, but then when we get that going, we do that a little more depth, maybe, if you can. Totally up to you, of course. And let's see here. Make sure you join us again next week. That it is the first week of May, so it is what's right and wrong in the crypto blockchain space. So that'll be super interesting and fun. And make sure you get in there and leave a blockchain-related question or topic of your choice. Can be about that subject, could be about anything blockchain as well. And make sure you share the episode and make sure you like it wherever you're watching it and all that stuff. And subscribe.
Turn all notifications on.
Yes. Do all the the bell.
The bell
stuff,
too. Just hit it and click the top option.
Yep. Top option on the bell on Twitter too, right? So that's it. That's everything. I guess I don't have set up what I'm going to play on the way out.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks to everyone in the chat.
Rock.
Yeah, we'll play this. This is good. Okay, so we'll see you guys soon. Thanks a bunch for joining. This was awesome. Very fun. Very fun. And we have like 4 minutes. I can ramble on as long as I'm joking. See you guys.
Let's play a word game.
America's not the government, people. The America is you. It is the Grand fucking Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the deserts of the Southwest, the Pacific fucking Ocean, the Atlantic fucking Ocean. It is the grandest continent. And what the fuck have you people done? You have turned yourself into sheep, every goddamn one of you.